Hello, everybody. Today we are talking about untapped potential in healthcare innovation and how physicians and other clinicians can be involved in that, how that's so important to us. My name is Dr. Uli K. I'm the founder and CEO of Lead Physician Leadership Program for Physicians, and we'll talk a little bit at the end about that if you want to join us. And I'm also the Chief Medical Officer of American Endovascular and Amputation Prevention. So if you want to find more of these videos, go to our YouTube channel, Lead Physician, and subscribe and like it. Lead Physician is all about bringing passion, purpose, and potential to physicians, which we really need. We need physicians in healthcare. We need them to be leaders in the field. Today, I will be introducing you to Uli Chettipally. Dr. Chettipally, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for having me, Elsie. It's a pleasure.
Yes, thank you. So I just want to quickly introduce you. You are an emergency room physician, researcher, author, and innovator. He's the founder of what we're going to talk about today is Sirica, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Sirica Therapeutics, a therapeutic device for autism, a very innovative device, how physicians can build things like what he did. He's the director of Founder Institute's Health Tech Virtual Accelerator, also the founder of InnovatorMD, which is the largest community for physician innovators, and we'll talk about how you can become a member of that at the end. And this book, Punish the Machine, which has everything to do with what we're talking about today, the promise of artificial intelligence in healthcare. And I read that really quickly yesterday. Amazing story, amazing anecdote in the beginning. Let's talk a little bit about, and I can go on about, awards that you've gotten, et cetera, et cetera. Uli, tell us a little bit about why this is so important, this topic that we're talking about, the untapped potential in healthcare innovation.
Yes. Most of you must have read the news headlines that the U.S. is lagging behind other developed countries and a lot of health indicators, right? How long people live and maternal and fetal mortality and pediatrics is bad. So you see all those headlines and you wonder, we are spending almost 20% of our GDP on healthcare, and why is this happening? Why are we ranked so low when compared to other developed countries? And some of that, not all of it, but some of that burden falls on the physicians. Yes. Because if in a healthcare system, a physician is the scientific leader and the teacher. So yeah, we do have to bear some of that burden.
Can you talk a little bit about that metaphor you had in the beginning of your book? I love that. I think this represents everything you're talking about, the story about the Western movie.
Yes. So when I was growing up, I saw this movie. And then, there are these bandits that are, coming to these old Western villages and these heroes, they come to train the villagers on how to fight, how to defend themselves against these thieves who are looting the villages. So one of the the good guys, he comes and shows how to use the gun. He's showing this farmer that has never used a gun on how to shoot, and he keeps trying and trying and trying, and the farmer cannot figure it out. So ultimately, the good guy says, you turn it upside down and hit it on a person's head, use it like a club rather than a gun. And in a way,
that is hilarious. That is so funny. I mean, I love that story. That says a lot about our EMR, where there's so much untapped potential. Exactly. We're using it like that, a club instead of a gun.
Exactly. And so there is so much technology available, and every other industry is so ahead of healthcare, but we are so behind, and some of that is we are not able to use it the right way.
Right.
The technology.
Right. So tell us a little bit about your daughter, how it came to be that you developed this whole platform for autism as the founder of Sirica Therapeutics.
Yeah. So through my journey with innovations, I've started, InnovatorMD, and then I met several companies, and there was this one company that was developing this robotic device And it sounded very interesting with virtual reality. And so I joined them as chief medical officer, and I helped develop this machine. It was originally developed for stroke rehabilitation. And then I have a daughter with autism. Her name is Siri. And so when they released the prototype, we all went, my wife and my daughter, we went to Salt Lake City where this lab is, and I asked her to try the machine. And she tried it, and she loved it. I asked her,
Can we show the little video clip
Yeah,
of it?
please.
By the way, the whole point of this, talk about clinicians getting involved in innovation. You're talking about how there was no resources for a daughter, and it wasn't until she was age 3, even though you knew when she was 6 months, like months old, you knew that she had autism, and yet nobody could help you until she turned age 3. And
Yeah,
this is where you stepped up and you said, you know what, there's got to be something better. So let me just
yeah,
show this video. Yeah, this
sure.
is amazing. Let's see if I can get this to go. Look at that.
So yeah, so
Go
what
ahead and
you're
explain
seeing
this.
is that she's sitting on this in this recumbent bicycle, which is actually a robot. So it is responding to her, and she can see that in the video game. There she hit a rock, and so she feels the jolt in the machine.
Wow.
And the idea is to navigate through through the forest. And it's actually a video game. So the patient is placed inside the video game. So you feel everything that is in the video game, and whatever you do here is represented there, and whatever happens there, you will feel it.
I love that.
Right?
That's unbelievable. That's amazing. She loved it, right?
She loved it. And so the idea is when you put people in deep immersion, the virtual reality is deep immersion, and then you challenge them with a mental task, which is following the track, and a physical task, because this is exercise too. You ride this machine for 10 minutes and you start sweating. So when you combine the mental challenge and the physical challenge, there is something that happens in the brain. That's our hypothesis, and that is where neuroplasticity occurs. And we hypothesize that that'll decrease the symptoms of autism. And
Right. And you brought up so many other points in your book about how the EMR can be so much more. There's so much data sitting there, and yet we're not utilizing it. And a lot of the EMR is used for what? Billing, right? Coding. And it's not being used for patient care. Can you talk a little bit about that?
yes, so when for example, when you see a patient, you're seeing one patient, right? What if you must have seen 1,000 patients like that before, but all that knowledge of these 1,000 patients is in your brain, right? But
Yep.
you may not remember everything. Maybe you'll remember the last 10 patients, but there's this vast knowledge that you have seen and gained, but it is not usable. It's not in a usable fashion. So what if you could take all that data, analyze it, and provide decision support to the physician at the point of care? And that's what I did at my last job, is built a system, a platform where that is possible for emergency physicians seeing patients. And so when a patient comes in and you're doing the evaluation and you click a button inside of EHR, it pulls up 100,000 patients data that came before this patient, which are similar to this patient, same chief complaint and same age group and kind of things like that. And it looks at all the variables and calculates a risk score and tells the physician, for example, if they're seeing a chest pain patient, it tells the physician the chances of this person having a heart attack in the next 7 days is 0.003%. So
Right.
you don't have to do any more testing. You can send the patient home, have them follow up with their primary doctor. This person does not need hospitalization. And so that kind of knowledge is very powerful. A
Right.
physician may not, have that much capacity to understand 100,000 patients' knowledge into one actionable insight.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you think that do you think the EMRs? I know we kind of a lot of people talk about how the EMR was prematurely brought into the U.S. and before we could even figure out all these things. But now that time has gone by, do you see that the EMRs have been upgraded so that we can capture data in this way without having to get a consultant to come in and help us develop a data analytics system?
So I think it's just beginning that part, but
Okay.
I think EMR is more of a symptom of a bigger disease,
Yes.
and the bigger
Yes.
disease is how we the business model of healthcare. If we are paying physicians to do the same thing over and over and over again, and that's
We
what they're
become
going to do.
robots. We're robots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do.
Right.
And that's why the quality of data will be bad, because you're just copying and pasting the last visit, or the last patient's record. So that's where the problem is. I think ER is just a symptom of that. But as we get more and more into outcomes, and then we start looking at, okay, how much are we spending and what is the outcome of this clinical intervention? And then you start to think about data and think about analysis and think about machine learning, because then that's when those kinds of things are very useful to be able to make that happen, improve patient outcomes, and decrease the cost.
So tell us how physicians can be more like people. You might have some physicians listening or some clinicians listening and thinking, I want to do that. I want to get involved. How is it that you're doing that? Maybe through your InnovatorMD or some other platform. How can physicians become more innovative in what they're doing, valuable in that field?
So we started InnovatorMD about 3.5 years ago, and the mission was, the idea was that physicians are the knowledge leaders in healthcare, and so they know everything that a person needs to know to be able to treat a patient, right?
Right.
What if we can, and they see problems daily in their practices, in their work, in dealing with other physicians, in dealing with patients. They see problems, but they also can figure out the solutions for those problems. And those solutions are very unique, because it is usually when physician comes up with a solution, it's very practical, it's very useful for other physicians, right? If I come up with a solution, I know that other physicians will use it because it is helpful in my practice. But it is hard for them to then take that and then expand that into other practices, get that product into market, get funding, or even have the knowledge on how to do that, right? How do you take an innovation and make it useful for other people and help more patients, right? So that was the foundation for InnovatorMD, and what we do is we do master classes. We bring in experts, and we do 40 master classes a year. We do 10 meetups. We do 2 big conferences. The next one is coming up in August. And so we bring in all these experts and all the other physicians that are doing similar work. And so they get this exposure. And so they get this learning. And then they get these connections and build this community of support around whoever is doing these things, innovative things. And then they get to eventually do their own thing, or be an advisor or mentor, or an investor, or just an observer of how innovation is done, and then they learn a lot. And that is the idea behind InnovatorMD.
Great. So tell us tell us a little bit about the membership, and I'm going to show the picture of the World Congress that's coming up.
Yes. Yeah. So this is a 4-day. Well, technically it's 3 days, 2 half days and 2 full days. We bring in about 60 plus physician innovators and other innovators that have done these things. There are startups, there are keynotes, workshops, on how to do things. And it's a very energetic, interesting conference. It's unlike any conference that you have been to, because you have all specialists, all technologies. So everything is represented there, and so what is happening in the cutting edge of this space in healthcare technology, that's what you can see. And it is hybrid, so you can come to San Francisco if you're available. If not, you can sign up, and you can do it on Zoom, or you can come back and watch later if you don't have time to watch it right then while it is happening. So,
Yeah.
and then there is membership, and there is, if you just want to do the conference, you can do the conference. Or if you want a year-long membership for 2 conferences, 10 meetups, and 40 master classes, the whole shebang.
Yes, yes.
The great thing is you get CME for it.
Right,
So
right.
that's the beauty of it.
Yep.
For
I just
physicians,
wanted to show the screen here. Like there's
yeah,
800 for physicians per year, and then it gets you this. I saw, and now this caught my interest. All these monthly meetups, free premium videos, free CME, free access to 40 CME master classes, 2 annual conferences, complimentary one-on-one. I mean, that's golden right there. Like
yeah.
I mean,
So
golden.
we
So
give you a good preview of what is happening in the industry.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Sometimes physicians jump into things. I would say don't jump into things, but
Hmm.
watch and see and
Right.
learn.
Be curious. Be
Be
curious.
curious.
Just like you start from scratch, and a lot of people say, especially a lot of physicians and clients that I have are like, I don't know, like I could never do that. We
Yeah,
need to stop saying that and just say, you know what, I'm curious, and I'm just maybe
just
why
learn.
not? Let's just
Yeah,
try it. Yeah, just learn, and then that's how you get yourself immersed and become an expert. It's just taking baby steps forward. I
exactly.
love that. So, how can people reach out to you, Uli, if they have any questions, and maybe even you talked about that invention that you have with the robotics for autism. I
Yeah.
know Sirica has a pre-seed round going on. Maybe somebody
Yes.
wants to invest.
Yeah. The best way to reach me is through LinkedIn, or InnovatorMD has a contact form. So yeah, we are raising a pre-seed round for Circa Therapeutics. If you're interested in investing or partnering or providing any other support, so feel free to contact me through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is probably the best way. Uh,
Okay. Okay. Great. Great. So thank you everybody for watching. My name is Dr. Elsie Ko. If you have a topic on physician leadership and how it relates to how we can improve our healthcare system, improve the provider satisfaction at work, which innovation can, please reach out to me at info@drelsieco.com. If you're interested in leadership training for physicians, we are starting September, but you need to sign up now. So go to leadphysician.org. Thank you, Uli. Any last words you have for us?
yes. Think about let's say a law office or law company, or an accounting company. Have you ever seen a law office being led by a non-lawyer, or an accounting firm led by a non-accountant? And
Mm,
why does that happen in healthcare? Physicians are not taking leads,
that's right.
being the lead position. So I would want everybody to join Elsie and understand how to lead. I think we need to. There's no excuse not to be leaders, because we understand the science, we understand the business, and understand the clinical. So
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Uli, for what you do, and I'll be in contact with you soon.
thank you.
Stay to the end so I can say goodbye.